Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Teacher Jenna, and today I will be speaking to you about a couple of things I recommend you have before you start your online teaching journey. So I've been teaching for 5 years now as a lecturer at the local university, and I recently started teaching English online to kids in China. I'm absolutely loving it, but there are a couple of things I've learned along the way, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So, the first thing that I recommend is that you invest in a nice webcam. Yes, you can make use of the webcam on your laptop. However, I do recommend that for the sake of visibility, you get yourself a plug-in webcam. I'll put a link to the one that I have in the description below. It's not too expensive, and I find that it really helps the kids to see me properly and specifically to see my mouth so they can understand how I pronounce words. Now, the second thing that you need is a headset. This is very, very important because the kids need to be able to hear your voice clearly. Now, the one I have has a little microphone, which you will also want in your own headset, and I will also link the one that I have in the description down below. So you will find that if you combine a good headset with your webcam, the kids will be able to see and hear a lot better, and they will then also be able to pronounce words better because they can see how you are forming them and they can hear the specific pronunciation. Now, the third thing I recommend is that you have a notebook. So I have a very cute one over here with llamas on it. I actually like to teach kids colors by pointing at the different colors on my notebook and asking them what it is. So in this notebook, you will keep track of what the kids did well and what they may need a little bit of improvement on. So the way that I do this is that before my lessons, I write down all of my students' names in little blocks so that I am prepared, especially if I have 8 or so students in a row. It can be difficult to keep track of everybody, and that's why I write down all of their names. Now you will also see that a couple of these names have little stars next to them. The reason I do this is because some of the students will be new, and I have so many students that I sometimes struggle to distinguish between who I've taught a couple of times before and who is brand new. So this is especially the case if I'm teaching a kid for the first 1 or 2 times, because there are so many kids that it is sometimes difficult to remember who I've taught before. Okay, so what I also do is that when I'm writing down my recommendations for the kids, you will see that this is a huge mess. But what I do is that on the left side of these blocks, over there on these blocks, I like to write down the words that the kids need to focus on, as well as how they should change the pronunciation or how they need to change their emphasis. And so here, when there's a part of a word that I think that they struggle with, so for example, if they say kitchen rather than kitchen, I'll write down the word kitchen and I'll underline the I in kitchen so that I know specifically in the memo that I should be giving them some advice on how they should be saying the word. Then, on the right side of the block, I like to write down a couple of other notes. So I will say, for example, I've got here one student was very quiet, reluctant to talk. Another one knew all the answers, was interactive and enthusiastic. So these are all things that you want to put down in your memo as well, because it'll help the kids to be nice and encouraged. And it'll also help the parents if the kids aren't really behaving as well as they should be. Now, the next thing that I want to speak about is your background. So I've had a couple of sort of hit and misses with my background. The first thing I ever did was that I had a whole bunch of posters which I just chucked up behind me, stuck up behind me, and while this worked, I really found that my teaching improved when I got this backdrop that I've got going on now. So what I've got is that I have the back wall, the wall behind me, painted with chalk paint. And this is great because it means that I can just draw things on there according to what the kids are learning. And you will see also that I work for Landy English, and I'll put my referral link in the description below. And Landy English has their little mascot, which is a blue bear, and so I just drew him up there to represent the company as well. Okay, now you must make use of props. Props are some of my favorite things ever because they are so creative, they are so easy to make. A lot of people are scared of props because they think, well, I don't have all of these expensive things, I don't know what to do, but all I've done here is I've taken a piece of paper and I've drawn a robot, colored it in, and stuck it on the back of a skewer stick. So really, there's no excuse for not having props. They are very useful. Kids love them. If you're teaching something, for example, about farm animals, now I've got a piggy, so I can say, oh, what is it? And then the kid can go, pig, and it's a lot of fun for them. Now, other props that I like to have as well are ones where I can encourage the students and I can make them feel good about something they've just said. So, for example, I use the star. Yay! I go, yay! Or I've got, great job! Or, wow! Just so that when the kids have done something wrong, just so that when the kids have done something right, they can feel extra good about themselves. Because I sometimes find that encouraging them, it's a little bit difficult because I feel silly saying, well done, good job, multiple different times. So having props makes things a little bit more new and exciting. Now, the next thing I recommend is to have a fixed internet connection. So yes, Wi-Fi does work well, but having yourself plugged into the wall is far more beneficial than Wi-Fi, because if your Wi-Fi drops, then suddenly you're in this terrible situation when you're in the middle of a class and you have your connection drop and then it comes back, drops and comes back. Whereas having your laptop or your computer plugged into the wall will mean that your or that your internet will be a lot more stable. So I really do recommend that. It helps to reduce anxiety. Certainly, I've learned the hard way. And it's also very good to have a backup in terms of electricity, or in the case that your internet dies. So I make use of a mobile hotspot on my phone. If you're looking at how to do that, you can just Google it. And I always make sure that I've just got a couple of gigs of data just in case I need it, because it can be very stressful if your internet drops and suddenly you can't teach your class. It's really not a nice situation to be in. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is having good lighting. So I like to be positioned so that I'm facing the window like I am now. So I've got natural lighting on my face. And it really does help to have good lighting, because if your kids can't see you, then obviously they're not going to be able to enunciate properly or to see how you pronounce words. It also means that they're probably not going to be as engaged as they would be if you were all bright and lit up well. So obviously, we don't all have wonderful windows to make us nice and bright and shiny at all times, but you can just make use of a lamp. I find that it works very well. But I do recommend that if you have a lamp on yourself, you also have a light on your backdrop. And the reason for this is because the backdrop is very, very beneficial. It makes things fun, and if the kid can only see you, they might find things a little bit boring. So you want to keep them engaged by having a nice backdrop, by having props. And in order for these things to be seen, you have to have some form of good lighting. Now, one more thing is that you should have a couple of stuffed animals lying around. And why? Well, if your kid is distracted or not really interested in the lesson, then you may find it useful to bring in a prop like this in order to redirect their attention to you. So I will sometimes go, "Rawr," or woof, 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 and then the kids will focus back on me, even if they've been very, very distracted before. And that brings us to the end of this video. I have a bunny running around, so he was making circles around me. So say hello, this is Coda. This brings me to the end of this video, and I really hope that you have found it useful. If so, please drop me a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.